what Brother Henry has done, right? He got HHC to accept the inequity. Every meeting he goes to with Alan Avilas or at 125 Wall Street when there are negotiations, contract or otherwise, the question was always raised. This is a fundamental problem that we're having, right? You remember Ann Rozakis, right? Every meeting we go to, Henry is there dealing with it. And he got the HHC to accept the politics of it, to say this is not fair, this is not right, right? And once they accepted the politics of it now, the next question is to get the economics. With himself and Sister Roberts now, they worked out a number of ways that it could be financed and funded, right? And he's going to speak to you. So there are two barriers. One was a political barrier to get HHC to back off what they were saying. Look, there should be no pay increase. You remember when they were cutting staff by 10%? There should be no pay increase, right? And there should be no staff increase. You recall that, right? But in spite of that, he was there. We are looking at all the hospitals, all the networks, and the pay is all over the place. Some network pay lower than others. Some hospitals pay more than others. What Brother Henry is doing is the first basic step to say, look, forget about the network, forget about the hospital, let us see what's going on across the board and bring everybody up.
Look, you can't do this without observing the history of what's happened with HHC. We had a centralized process, then a decentralized hiring, we had a board, a vacancy control board, then we had a decontrol board where managers were able to do it, and the networks were supposed to do something, and then at some point the director came down, the HR directors were doing something, and you had good managers or people who wanted to retain people, and you had people bringing in from an outside contract. We've had quite a lot of changes. Now we're hearing a re-centralization of the hiring. So depending who the president of HHC or the first vice president, how they were feeling, we were approaching things different. Now this did not happen overnight. It happened over a period of neglect and in some instances, really effort to try to undermine the union and to try to undermine the workers and to try to play favoritism to say, hey, if you play by my rules, you could be a level 2. If you play by my rules, you could get a salary increase. And the truth is, some of our very own members, because they wanted to engage in that process. I don't want to begrudge them for it, but the truth is, it takes two to tango, right? Yeah. Now, what we're looking to do, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we're going to be able to fix every problem. What we've been able to do is to finally get the city, not HHC, because they will not agree to this. The mayor of the city of New York to say, hey, there is a major problem here. You're having a problem with your hiring. You're having a problem with recruitment. You're having a problem with your promotions. You're having a problem with having enough staff to be able to do the work. I said, what is the value of turnover? Just think about this. Every time a new person comes through the door, you got to train that person. Yeah. And then there for a year or two, when they find out there's this inequity, they run out. You bring somebody else at a high level, and then you got to train them. So there is at least a sense of a recognition, a changing of the tide, if you will, an understanding. And how I know that is because they put money into the pot, which is something that the previous administration refused to do. They didn't say there's not a problem, but they say, okay, you union come up with savings that you pay for it. And the concept of us paying for our own raises when they're getting the benefit of it, it's just ridiculous. Now, we did a lot of work on identifying revenue outside of the collective bargaining agreement. We did white papers, we did resources to come up with money that is in addition to what's already established pattern of behavior. So I'm not suggesting to you that with this salary adjustment, we're going to fix everything. I'm suggesting to you that we have union bargaining, that we have salary adjustment, that we have workplace initiatives, that we have 3 or 4 things that we're working to try to deal with a big problem.